What's up, Squadron 7? It's time. It's finally time. Let's talk Episode 5, Gone with a Trace. The day has finally come. We get to see a heaping dose of Ahsoka Tano. First, as she makes her triumphant return in Clone Wars in this episode, but next, her live-action counterpart in Mandalorian Season 2, and I'm going to be doing a video on that covering who exactly is playing her live-action counterpart and what that means for the story and what kind of stories we can see and who else could possibly come to the Mandalorian Season 2 with her casting. But stay tuned for that, that'll come later in the day. This video is about Episode 5, Gone with a Trace. Now, as the episode suggests, Ahsoka is having a hard day. Her speeder bike malfunctions and she crash lands on a mech bay, which leads her to none other than Trace. Their interaction here alone tells us that Ahsoka is at a time in her life where she is questioning a lot of things. One quote from the episode is especially revealing in this manner is when she asks Trace, "Why are you helping me?" And this is a question you only seemingly have to ask if you are unsure about people's motivations and you've been provided this worldview or perspective that doesn't allow for people to just help you. It seems her experience with the Jedi Order has, in fact, kind of jaded her in terms of social interactions. She's lost because the only thing she trusted in her life betrayed her. And although Anakin did fight for her innocence, the Order that backed him didn't and assumed her guilt. Nonetheless, even when Trace brings up the Jedi and the war, Ahsoka still assumes a positive attitude towards them and even gets defensive, telling her that the Jedi are starting to stop the war. But Trace reveals how, well, she wouldn't speak for everyone here, but she speaks for herself, and that she thinks that the Jedi have forgotten about us all. And then we get a scene with Pintu, a debt collector who is trying to collect a debt from Trace's sister Rafa, which shows us that even without her lightsabers, Ahsoka still kicks serious ass. In an effort to make enough credits to pay back Pintu, Rafa is hired to build some droids for a client. Now, Ahsoka here confirms our suspicions in that while she knows a lot due to her experiences as a Jedi and being in the war, she just does not know people. As Ahsoka warns Trace that they have to be vigilant about the restraining bolts because these droids could be cross-wired, Trace responds, "There are good people and there are bad people, and some people can be cross-wired," which is a good quote because it kind of explains humanity at large. Of course, as soon as Ahsoka warned Trace about restraining bolts on these droids, those restraining bolts are on the off position, and the binary load lifter goes on a huge rampage across the sector and destroys a lot of things along the way, and a chase ensues. But finally, they get to catch the droid and turn off or turn on the restraining bolt, and Ahsoka is forced to use the Force to save Trace, revealing herself potentially to a lot of people. I don't know if she was revealed to Trace, but I'm assuming here that Ahsoka is trying to lay low, trying to keep a low profile and keep herself away from any kind of Jedi affairs or trying to out herself as a Jedi or former Jedi. Nonetheless, this is my favorite episode so far, and I don't need to tell you guys why this is my favorite episode, because Ahsoka is my favorite character. And while the season started strong with the arc of Echo's return, the turns are tabling when Ahsoka is back in the mix.
Well. How the turntables...
Now, this is going to be an interesting story to see because this is going to be the first time we get to see Ahsoka and what she's up to ever since she left the Jedi Order, apart from the book Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston and her time on Rebels. But it's not only a lens looking into what she's done since she left the Jedi Order, it's also a look inside her head as she tries to contend with no longer being a Jedi. We saw a similar instance in the Obi-Wan Kenobi comics where we got to saw a glimpse of what life was like away from the Jedi Order. Two different stories, two different perspectives. The concept's still interchangeable as Obi-Wan deals with no longer being a Jedi, and he also deals with how to interact with people. The same way Ahsoka is dealing with that in this episode. And so by the end, Ahsoka is going to repair her speeder bike and she's gonna set off, and she's gonna come to a point in her path where it kind of tapers, where it finally meets Darth Maul. But that'll do it for my recap and reaction to episode 5, Gone with a Trace. Don't forget, I'm going to be doing a video on Ahsoka Tano's live action casting for The Mandalorian Season 2, so check that out when that comes out. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, do all that good stuff. And as always, may the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one.